It's April 17th, 2018, 8:36 p.m. I always include time and date with my videos. There's a situation concerning me, and has been concerning me for a couple of weeks, since April 1st. March 31st, I took a trip to DC on a Greyhound bus, and then back April 2nd, left roughly about midnight April 2nd, all the way back, so I spent about a day and 6 hours out there total. With that being said, it's sort of the same situation that happened and was happening in New York City. Carl Newman and his people basically interfering with shit, trying to get it to match up what they predicted here at the house. There's a thing that James McCoy was talking about. That's another person, basically family member, but not completely. There was a recliner, his recliner in the living room. He was living here at the time, and I remember him saying, and it was vivid because somebody else was relaying it to him like it's relayed information, so it caused even more grave concern. When I say relayed communication, it is like external communication internally to the people inside the house through like a micro voice. It's not exactly an earwig, we're hearing it. It's literally like someone's utilizing something as effective as LRAD, or what I just learned today, HAD, or AHD, militarized grade acoustic hailing device. But with that being said, there was a situation to where he was telling James about a boat fire on the Staten Island. This was January of 2015. By June of 2015, I took a trip to New York City. Not just because of that reason, I guess I just planned it. Like I was hyped up maybe to do it. But I still wanted to kind of do it. There is multitudes of problems starting here at the house. And it's almost coincidental with other incidences of the place that I lived and the places that the same people that I've been around causing these situations to where it heightens at certain times to where I get what I feel maybe either pushed into leaving and going somewhere, traveling, or whatnot at times. I don't want that held against me in the wrong way, but I'm going to put it definitely as that for sure. Or being told exactly to get out, and I need to go do something with myself, whatnot. Intentionally, but with the intent. You can feel the extra intent there that somebody's trying to manipulate something. Well, with that being said, there was a boat fire on Staten Island. I had kind of like a campsite in a field next to a port to the ocean. And that boat fire was started. It was started July 27th. So I was there, I got there June 8th, June 9th, something like that. So about a month and a half after I've been there, I already went up to this boat. I filmed the boat a day or two prior. 2 days later, the boat burns up. So, crazy shit. How do you get? I know it's the people across the street because there's other insinuations. They got groups and hordes of people living in shops, renting shops. They bought houses and shit. So, this is some real organized shit. On top of, though, you got to put this together, being organized elsewhere, having connections. A lot of it would be New York City connections. They're trying to run it like a gangland insinuation, but yet at the same time they're law enforcement. They're socialized, political, they're just growing their life by sabotaging, threatening, and harassing someone else, such as myself. Framing and trying to sabotage that type of way too. Because guess who got the blame, or at least suspected, and the feelings that I couldn't be around? I did. Why? Because I'm camped out there. I was camped out a football and a half field away. I might even go 2 football fields away, if even that. And it was the area, the way that it is, prime suspect. I'm the only one that kind of was there. But somebody alleviated that situation. And that situation was alleviated because I had a Metro pass. Metro Pass was trackable. Not that I came completely fronted with police. It was more standed off and mimicked or shouted out, mumble, but it wasn't a mumble. Full blown, you're okay. We know you didn't do it because there's just too much proof that you didn't. We know you was downtown. We know where you was at and all that shit. It'd be impossible for you to have done it. Anyways, so to get on with the story, the actual point of this video is the Washington, D.C. relaying stuff. I went to D.C. and the same thing was being relayed to my older brother Johnny when he was here, and Lillian, an aunt that's supposed to be sick, or a great aunt. Supposed to be sick, and I can't say supposed to be. There's paperwork for it, but you have enough power to challenge someone else, but you're too sick, you're dying for life. I mean, in a sense, it just doesn't make sense in some senses. I'm gonna carry out with this. This is family associated stuff with other organized shit, power. And me being directed as the targeted individual of that. Now, revenge acts I will include, because they're shitloads, that's for sure. Is there something that is so revengeful that they'd act this way? Yes and no. The reason why it declines in a no, I'll have to explain later. But there will be a reason, and I've talked to other people how that works, so it's not really as great. They can then act out on it, they'd be in the wrong. And that would definitely go to show that they don't give two bits shits about me. But anyhow, with the reliance of this external communication shit, them giggling like they're playing what I understand terminology like a clubhouse. And they tap houses, they utilize cameras, microphones, and they utilize it like a gang organized, if it isn't just gang, but an organized place to be on camera where multitudes of people can observe the maneuverment, the situation, everything and aspects of what's going on in that their controlled situation, and what they can see and perceptualize. Usually utilized for intelligence. It can be utilized for protection, basically like a systematical safe house, but no evidence they're not representing themselves as system. Law enforcement, which comes into an effect also in play. Part of the situation is so corrupt and sabotaged. There's just so many entities these people have empowered. Grouply though, mass group effects, socialism effect. Anyways, and enforcing law. Could you imagine someone following you around and threatening to report you for the trash you threw down, or civilly basically challenging you? They didn't call the police. Maybe they took a picture and had evidence and civilly tried to produce. And in confusion, I should already know the things that I'm talking about before I put them out. But something to the effect that it doesn't matter. These people are utilizing power, and some of it's working, or some of it's frauded by other authoritative individuals that are employed to the authoritative situation, like city works or whatever. No matter what, there's still the duress or the enforcement and an acts and dequalitizing stuff happening that creates just nothing. It creates, I won't say nothing, it creates you being nothing. You have no value, you start dropping. You just start getting all messed up. And that's what I'm trying to explain, maybe with intent of what I'm about to say. My older brother Johnny was relayed to a restaurant. I was out in D.C. years ago, probably 7 years ago and 8 years ago, even in 2006. But most of the happenings would have been the 2010, 2011 situations when I was out there. I was homeless, traveling, hiking, no job, no income. Anyways, with that being said, there's a restaurant. It's Chipotle's. And the restaurant's basically, I'll make it Union Station, Washington, D.C., right downtown. And they was talking about this Mexican Chipotle restaurant to my older brother Johnny. Well, I'm dumb enough, because I know, and when I'm talking about it, they're a major problem. They're associated and connected with shit that happened to me, and possibly even still connected. 7 years later making contact like organized crime with the people that are messing with me. Anyways, that being said, I'm dumb enough to walk into this Chipotle. I didn't even know it. I didn't have it on my mind completely. I was wiped out of the situations that I wanted to remember. Like it was almost intentional for me to forget, but to remember later on. And I just figured, shit, I'll just try me a restaurant in Union Station. I had some money. I was hungry. I haven't heard of Chipotle. I've eaten at Chipotle before, not often, but going to get some Chipotle. Well, here goes the situation. We'll cut the story real quick. We had within the last couple of weeks prior to that problems with lettuce here at the house. Johnny had bought, and it got me sick, and I think it got some other people sick, and da da da. And I thought it was lettuce. There's other situations way in the past over the last 7 years, or less, that I had with lettuce from a chain store here in Columbus. But anyways, to get back to the story, go into the Chipotle and I order up, get me the steak. I'm going after the big boys. The high dollar stuff, tasty, doesn't matter. I'm gonna blow money. They didn't have no lettuce. They didn't. When I start looking at the way I've seen prepared before, it wasn't completely prepared right. I had to think back. This is after being served in days, not weeks later, noticing that, I'm starting to realize shit wasn't 100% proper. And so I'm looking at the way things was, and I'm like, and the next thing you know, I'm starting to get an attitude. And I'm having a lot of attitude from the Mexican workers. I'm having a lot of attitude, what seemed to be the manager or the owner. I start remembering this guy like as if he was an assaultant, like brutalized emotional assault from 7 years ago. I mean, being able to pull in the same type of identification of people, feelings, and everything else, like somebody's trying to completely socially assault me. Or is socially assaulting, not just socially, emotionally assaulting, intimidating, and threatening. That's almost life-threatening, but it's not. Psychologically threatening, trying to basically get me to collapse or, become incapacitated with this intimidation, which almost happened, but it didn't. It wouldn't matter. I knew I could leave. I knew I was leaving. But I did a video on it. I did a video standing outside, and some of their actions, and some maybe the call-outs. I don't know if the microphone, I can't say I don't know. I listened to some, but there's also other things going on around the area that cause the influence of these people to act out. They probably would not have noticed me 7 years later at all. The only thing they might have noticed is I'm a little messed up, mentally and physically, but they maybe not have noticed me. Somebody else had to relay this. And also had to start them like they created a diary note case of every maneuverment that happened. And I will stop with the story there and explain. I found these books. I found these books over the last tons of times, even as a child in my older brother Johnny's room. Profiles of myself. I've also found out in parking lots somebody dropped their stuff. And some of it, I didn't read through it fast enough, or all of it, but 90% of what I read was completely me. I worked late nights at shopping centers, multitudes of shopping centers. And when I started realizing, they started telling names of shopping centers and profiling a person. And I'm looking, and when you start realizing, if you're using a shovel in the middle of the night, there's nobody else around, no other person using a shovel, and you find a diary, and it's basically almost fresh, or a notebook, and there's other things that lead, and was already confirmed that that's what they're doing, but the notebook, some of the reading is he's using a shovel, shoveling out this corner at such and such shopping center. That's about you, even though your name's not on it. That's you, right? 100% you. Clothes, walks, actions, which way I headed, all kinds of different freaking crap. What they felt that I was like walking across the parking lot with the shovel. What I was utilizing, a backpack blower, my mental abilities and capacities, like I'm slow and retarded, and the society should be able to control me somehow, or they should be able to put their enforcement. There's a ton of stuff to go back onto in the past that has a lot of socialism value, um, and that is controlment and empowering themselves over me, above me, for control, and all kinds of other things. But I'm going to go ahead and leave that and go back over to the story itself. Like somebody's utilizing these diaries, what they utilized in Washington, D.C. These diaries now, that effect, when I first confronted the situation was in 2000. When I found the diaries in the parking lot, it wasn't just family, there's tons of people doing it. And it happened, it wasn't something recent either, see. Somebody's like, maybe you're under investigation. I was under investigation since I was a teenager, 5 years prior, maybe even 6. Until now, same type of diary keeping. Same associated feeling of group, and this group wanting to do something to create a power and control and enforcement over myself. Nah. Nasty, nasty ass situation going on, but I don't want to keep putting nasty words up there. Anyhow, so the point is with me knowingly this happened, these people utilized the profiling that they utilized back in 2010 and 11, and it's not nothing anything nice. It was just outright nastiness. They was being nasty back then too, but now it's just the mimic of the same shit, which is more intimidating, because you're not technically utilizing. What if, maybe you didn't like me because I was poor. I had money this time. Maybe you didn't like me because I didn't have clean clothes on. I had perfectly clean clothes on. Maybe you didn't like me because I had nothing to do and I was hanging out, or no matter what it was. All the, per se, above and beyond complaints besides my physical features were all taken care of. That was a no-go. You couldn't complain about it because it wasn't there. But yet they was trying to erect as if it was. Erect what kind of social value I was. Erect almost to get me to collapse, as if they was trying to take away my ability to have the quality that I had and the monies. As if they was trying to affect it to the point, hey, in the future we're going to try to fuck you off on the way you receive your money, interfering with my ability of income. I don't know. That's the way I wanted to pit that. But serious, like, deeming ass shit. Testing, social testing. Did I see anybody else being socially tested? No, only myself. Anybody else reacted out? Hell no. There's a whole social force that somebody went through there. With homosexuality, though, also, as a part of it. And forcing nasty ass, well, okay, we don't get along and we live here. They recruited people to enforce to see if they had ground standing situations as they lived there, if they had any type of community controlment of just outright telling me I couldn't even walk through their community. I stayed in the downtown area for the most part, but there's still houses around and shit like that. Walmarts and, we call it Safeway stores. They don't have Safeway here in Columbus, I don't think. I'm almost positive. But, yeah. So, look around. These people just trying to, this is our place. We have the power and control. What's another ruling situation? I wasn't doing anything wrong. I got off the bus. I had a backpack, laptop, 2 cell phones, picture taking. Even if it was anything kind of wrong, it wasn't anything massively wrong. I wasn't smoking dope like a lot of people on the corner. All over the place, marijuana. I wasn't wearing KY jelly. I swear to God, on God's Bible, even though that's not right at any time. There was a whole slew, tons. It was a whole social act. Everywhere that I went, the smell of KY jelly. I don't know if anybody understands what that is. It wasn't even jelly. KY cream, whatever the fuck they call it. I've smelt this stuff at the store before. I don't want to get too into what it is, but you can find it in a special aisle. If you don't know what it is, go ask the damn store clerk. Go ask the pharmacist. Go up to 7-Eleven and ask them if they have any type of KY lube. Jelly cream. I should go ahead and put lubrication. Like somebody intentionally rubbed that shit all over their clothes and their body and walked around like goofy as fuck. Tons of people. Outside vehicles, which in DC you're going to have, but it's coincidental California license plates. Same type of license plates from the individual across the street. Associations of California, power and control. Enforcing commutative policy, like I'm not allowed to talk to people in California. Their people don't agree with me. It's okay to do so. Like over the internet, I'm not allowed to talk. The insane can't talk to people insanely or whatever. We deemed you insane or mentally incapacitated, so you don't have a right in California, even if I have a right, say, in Ohio, Colorado, no matter else where I was at. Only because I'm connected over the internet talking to somebody else, they're trying to make legalization of enforceable laws. And I was supposed to understand these laws. And maybe I didn't. Maybe there's something without giving any liability that I've done anything wrong. They are in here playing hardball, like I said, though. Proper etiquettes. Is my shoulders good enough widespread and I'm sitting with my spoon in my left hand and my fork in my right good enough for them? I mean, it's real nasty shit that they're trying to get into. But, yeah, California license plates associated out there. New York City license plates to a point. Georgia license plates associated. New Jersey. But if you just keep going on and on, that's too many license plates to be doing. Not really, because they were associated elsewhere. Have been. But a lot of mental associations. Goofballing off. I didn't call for that. I ain't been out there in 7 years, so how would anybody even profile me communally to step out? To be able to tease or taunt, to associate or attach any type of mental, social, verbal, nonverbal communications with me. Go up to the Pentagon, same thing. Orientals, a lot of them, and there's tons of Orientals in this trip to DC that was doing this KY lubrication wearing. I'm like, no. Anyways, that being said, I just wanted to make a video on this and report back a little bit of sabotage, intentional sabotage out there, being framed, set up. Same thing with New York City, them utilizing a situation of doing so and framing. But some of their shit was shut down. They was controlling and had the power to control traffic lights, crosswalks, a street that normally has a crosswalk sign timer for 15 to 20 seconds because, say, it's a smaller street. Time going up to 45 seconds, 66 seconds, 61 seconds. Just oddball, just completely obliterating numbers, intentional, and I know intentional because it was reset. I had a small bug detector I turned on, and when I turned that on, I started placing it around the light poles, even if it was the cause or detected or scared somebody or not. Somebody still allowed it to happen as if it was fear to prove the situation that the lights were being alterated, either wrongfully, but at least they was being interfered with intentionally. That's not normal. And they reset the situation back to normal for good amount of time. So now the street light went back to 15 or 20 seconds to cross the street. But that's not just one. That's all the traffic lights that I was dealing with. Everywhere that I walked. So it was a massive deal. It ain't like nobody didn't see that shit. So now there's government, some type of fucking control there, sabotaged or not. But hey, just having fun. Does it look like having fun when you're ragging on me? Trying to implant thoughts, implant socialism, get me to fucking interact out with something I don't want to interact out with. Homosexual connective shit. And what's up, bitch? Given a socialism problem. A societal problem. Like I'm the one that's out of hand. Intentionally creating a duress and harshness right away. Right as even before I showed up. Intentionally organizing shit. to do that. And they've done this over years after years. They've gotten in trouble. But I will say this: in D.C., there's a lot of flip flop and some solidation to it. And basically, I proved enough. All I need to do is go in and represent it through the system and make a lawsuit out of it. Is apparently what needs to happen. But at least represent it and say, hey, it exists. It's real. Somebody's messing with me. No matter what the reason is. But I'm not going to give it to that, oh, well, maybe there is a reason legally and I should understand it. You know what? No. And on top, by the time the excessive force to happen, no. Not even the system would have that right. Or I should think that they had the rights to do what they're doing. Anyways, some of the stuff was caught up, some wasn't. You go up to the Pentagon, same thing though. I don't know about the streetlights. I think they did. The crosswalk lights. If that's the case, it's a massive... That's definitely... you're talking right outside the fucking Pentagon. It wouldn't be exactly cell phone jamming or electronic jamming and alteration hacking. You'd think the Pentagon would be on top of that. But don't think completely. Hey, maybe there was a major-ass loophole. And somebody was just hacking the fucking system and right in front of the government's face. Ha ha ha. With that being said, a lot of socialism, like I said, it just doesn't make any sense. For me not to have been there 7 years, don't really know anybody there. Or if I do know anybody, and me automatically be known. On top of challengements, like ex-old situations that I had talked about to somebody else, or what they profiled when they was there with me the last time. And I didn't want to go to certain places, so I went to avoid it. But not being there for so long, not knowing where these places were 100%, knowing the place, but I didn't want to completely even touch the property. And there's a lot of other things being played property-wise. And so I went to walk by, and people relating, this one, you can't be here, or which way is that going to work? How are you thinking? Which way does that work? Mind mapping, social life, what I'm doing with life. You got enough money to blow to stick your nose up my fucking ass to figure out if I want to step on this parking lot or this property or not? How much money did they spend themselves? I spent a little bit, and I'm not going to brag that I spent a whole lot. I was poor as fuck on this trip. Or else I'd have had a hotel room, stayed 7 days and 6 nights or whatever. But anyways. So these people use mass group, mass amount of money, mass. Somebody needs to recognize it. I'm not like the rest of these targeted individuals to a point saying, hey, and I'm having a targeted individual and these people won't quit following me around my home, following me around my city, following me around this and that. I have multitudes of incursions that I moved, I left. I got away for months at a time. I got away for years at a time. And the same things. I never got away. It always followed. They're always in here trying to control society for themselves. Trying to make it out that I'm unstable. Creating an unstable situation and then acting like, no, you're unstable, don't act that way. Like calling you a bitch or trying to create a nonverbal communication like you're an awkward or I'm an awkward person. But you don't have the right to represent back to me. No. You bad. You don't do nothing about it. If you act out, I act like I'm behaviorally restraining, enforcing restraint. You're abnormal. I'll treat you however I want to. But mumbling shit because of my appearance and what they've already sabotaged and caused quality degradation. You're not allowed around children. To a specification of mental health capacity and stuff like that, depending on the severity, that could be true. But I went to the system and asked them about my capacity being around children and what is it, what's the legalities of that. Even if I became, what kind of incapacitation would it have to be for them to instate this? And I don't fall in that fucking profile. I don't fall in that guideline. I don't fall for it at all. So these people are in here intimidating, like they're going to scream rape because I'm standing next to their kid or their kid's around and their kid's playing. And they intentionally sabotage with this shit. Sit their kids out there just so they got a way to exert and express some type of situation that they want to set up themselves. But anyhow, so these people aren't right. They'll even put their own kids and kids in the way of what they want. And what they want is power and control. They want to feel power and control. And I've talked to mental health, I've talked to psychiatrists, I've talked to people who deal with political government, and it all points to them illegally trying to obtain, contain, power, control. Anyways, that being said, I don't know, I'm starting to ramble. I don't want to ramble. I just wanted to make the video proof and what I'm trying to say. Tons of things happened. It wasn't just in one general location either. It was everywhere that I went. Like I was being tracked like with a bounty hunter. I can't even say like, but anyways. What a deal. Also, family associated Ohio, Columbus, Ohio value. Somebody controlling shit that they shouldn't. I'm the boss. I'm Godfather shit. Haha, I'm the one with the connection and control that. That's my family value. You're not a part of our family with value that much. It's not yours. Everyone can do it. Working through this other group of people trying to enforce against me. I moved out of your community so you could live a life. What is your life containance of when you follow me? Make complaints and social remarks out about me. Try to legally find any loophole, legally progressing no matter where I'm at, as fast as you can to thrill yourself off of being able to enforce against me. That's your life. Intentionally trying to kill somebody. Suffocation tactics, mental health tactics, social suffocation tactics. Not just breathing, health-causing problems, social problems. Usually relates to mental health. Did anybody understand, and I'll do this for myself, that I talk to mental health? I've been through mental health. And there's a lot of agreements that I'm being targeted. There is agreements that, my incapacitation could be assaulted. Me being assaulted causing incapacitation. When you assault somebody, it's possible to incapacitate them. No matter if it's physical or non-physical. Stalking. The feeling of stalking, the incapacitation and fears, that's not paranoid schizophrenia. When somebody's really stalking you, and you have paranoia, but it's legit. But trying to enforce, you'll do as we say. I'll tell you what you are. We'll cause you problems if not. We'll make the ultimate test that you can't stand to these societal rules and guidelines, or not even guidelines, aspects and values. Well, not everybody can. Social value remark. You're not rich, so you don't belong around here. To a point. I mean, like Union Station, Mickey D's, even if it wasn't a rich community, whatever it be, social value. Some type of situation of just attack. You're not one of us, and we're going to fuck with you. We're going to sabotage you to the point you don't have nothing. We don't like you. Needs to be understood. Anyhow, stop this video and I'll upload it to the target of unlawful acts. And that's target of unlawful acts, YouTube and .com. And hopefully maybe have someone decipher this. I don't want the website or YouTube being utilized personally completely for myself, because it's antagonizing the way I speak. I don't have nothing professional, nothing that comes out that is completely thirst quenching. It's more crying out for help, to a point of somebody coming to alleviate it or help me support what I already have, trying to set grounds with, while somebody's telling me outright. I double did that, of I don't have the rights to set grounds, or else they'll do something to me. Or I'm incorrect. I don't know my facts. I can't set grounds because the facts aren't straight. I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, that's fine. I talk to mental health, and I can make clearly that I have a complaint. I have a grievance of saying, hey, something's wrong. And they went to help out. I declined it due to intimidation and fear of systematical assault, which they also agreed was happening and has happened. I should have went along with it and pursued it. So, I'm not the one, maybe it does or doesn't exist. It exists, but how does power of the people, these people, how can they get away with it the way that they're structuring their shit? Why doesn't the power of people in each community everywhere I go and act out differently? Unless they're lying and forcing, perjurizing again with stuff and trying to enforce it in the community, making me look like a bad person, like they need to do this. And it's not true. Or they're falsely utilizing bounty hunter techniques and lying to the public. Until proven otherwise, they'll be held because they have good enough skills to make it impersonatable of what they're doing, per se, that they got a right to do it, to enforce it that way. Now, that would take money out of my pocket, investigators, detectives, people who would legally... I want ground standing as best legally that it can, so people who can legally understand it a lot better than I can was saying, well, this guy's bothering me, to where they put it in a hardcore technical specifications and all the rest and come up with all the other goodies, things that I might miss or that I am missing, and that can be applied to the situation. So it's all nothing but complete lots of time, money, and life out of the situation. These people know it. That's what they do. They intentionally harass, organized stalking, organized situation. I have a certain amount of beliefs that some people don't understand, that criminal allegations, civil suits, civil allegations, the ability to progress somebody, going through all of that first, trying to find out your background. And even I have a background, possibly. I won't even say possibly, but for something them to attach to. So I went in and asked the system, and then I also got support to enforce against it. Hey, is this legal for them to do this? If they don't have the proper representation papers, no. So you can go ahead and make a complaint against them. And that's what I started doing. They're saying they have legal right to do it, and they may have something that seems relative. But if they can't legally prove it, they can't legally do it. And you catch them up. It's a scary thing to do, because they also, sabotage. Well, if you try to fuck with this way, we'll sabotage something else and create something else up against you and try to stick it to you. And if it gets you in trouble, we don't care. If it doesn't, what's going to happen? We don't care about that either. Slap on the wrist and let go. But more or less, see how much more danger you're in yourself when they don't care about you, to not care and intentionally try to sabotage you, set you up, frame, all the rest of shit, or create a situation that you don't feel good with, and they just don't care. They don't care about you. They're saying they care. They're utilizing systematical caring, and this is how the system understands things. They just want you to be normal, okay, or compliance with something, but really they don't care. There is no compliance set. They're intentionally utilizing that as an enforcement of power to irritate, to thrive on. Like they have narcissist personality and all kinds of shit. I got the words thriving. They're trying to thrive on power. This is how this looks and is perceptualized by mental health people, psychiatrists, counselors, and all the other. A group team. All at once. Not just one question, one place, relay the same thing to the other. Multitudes of people sitting there. Anyways, so there goes that. I want to make sure it's also clear that there's things that happen in New York City that are 2,000,000,000% exactly identical to what happened in Washington, D.C. One of the things is, so far as I know, is I haven't been set up, framed, or sabotaged like I was in New York City. But they did relay a lot of the shit here before I went out there, and then challengement. Knowing how I walk, where I'll go, what I'll do, maybe even what drinks I'll pick up. Almost like a hitman situation. Socialism, to where it's just messed up. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Hopefully, when I get it uploaded, it'll be appreciated. But it's more analyzable for my own personal problem than it is anybody else's. But I'm willing to work on some of it for myself. I'm willing to work with you. I'm willing to work to a point, and I don't understand maybe the working. I might not be of any any help except for saying everything that I come off with is, well, maybe go talk to a lawyer. Find a way to build the money up. Find a way to get in contact and get counseling, legal advice, and make sure it's all straight. Go in and tell as much truth as you can to a point if you feel safe enough to do so. If you're not feeling safe in your own city, I'm not going to say move, but find some out, maybe an external contact without going above the range. Because I know a range, everything can be contaminated, can be involved, associated, organized, reach out of contacts. I go to the store and somebody's already one step ahead of me, already creating problems. That one step ahead, trying to create that one step ahead, and then deeming, no, you're not right, so that's the reason why we're creating this situation. We have a problem and want you to resolve it with us. Trying to create victim blaming or victim fault, or processing you as a perpetrator rather than a victim, like they have a right to do it. But anyhow, I understand a wide range of things that's happened with me, because my stuff goes all the way up into senators, mayors, government, police, sheriffs, all kinds of stuff. Top of the line stuff. Even somebody trying to do the same situation I'm talking about, foreignized, different countries. Like if I traveled to Mexico, which was a harder situation on them, but they was able to still get their group of people in to persuade other groups of people to interact out with, which was a targeted individual situation, a targeted situation, intentionally targeting me in public, creating duress, defamation of character, defamation of myself, which is the same thing as character, but just outright nastiness. Anyways, so yeah, what I'm offering out, right now I've been sick. I've been sicker since I gotten back. I started getting better in a day and a half after leaving Columbus, Ohio. I get back and I'm warned to go ahead and leave Columbus, Ohio. Well, you don't understand legalities. Well, there's been a lot of brainwash. There's been a lot of situation, law enforcement, somebody utilizing force, that I'm law enforcement. I understand everything. If you don't say the right things, then I'm going to give you a hard time. It better fall in my guidelines of what I'm telling you. Anyways, that's fucking forced shit. Much less straight ass harassment, entrapment, fucking all the above. Contaminated, sabotage, blackmailed, and those words, they all have technical meanings that do not consist of a whole lot of meaning to the things that I'm talking about. Most people pop off with those words though, because it has a feeling of it, but some people don't understand. A lot of those don't even contain. Blackmail is usually with an organization or a person that owns a business. That completely sort of not a big enough situation to have that done. Well, maybe, but not necessarily, right? I own an online website that could be created as a business, but even though they affect that, but it's not big enough to be considered probably blackmail or anything. But anyways, reaching out, saying I'll help. I'll try to look up help with you. I can't counsel. I'm no good at talking myself. I've been caused to be insocial. I've been caused to be ignorant, unintelligent, difficult to deal with to a point. And I work on that. I work on that myself. Hey, if I can self-admit it, I can also self-admit saying, hey, I ain't been able to talk because of this situation happening. I go elsewhere. I feel good, relaxed. I start rehabilitating myself, and somebody interferes with that rehabilitation, that recovery. Somebody's interfering with my recoveries and everything else. And they've done this not just recently. It's not just a couple of years. It's not a bunch of years. It's a ton of years, decades. If not me profiling it all the way to even being born. An intentional family organized crime maybe type situation that was utilized, and I'm one of their pawns that was utilized. I'm targeted by them for exposing them. I'm also targeted because that's the way I was raised. And hey, they have power. I'm your mother, I'm your father, I'm this type of power. I know who you are, and I'll go out and tell you what to do. we're utilizing you for socialism, I'll walk in and act like I'm better than you because I know I have you wrapped around my finger situation. I'll tell you what to do. You're not free. Well, that's enough. I'm going to go ahead and end this video because it's 45 minutes long and I'm running out of space, so I wanted to upload to a couple of places and I'm going to upload it to YouTube. But yeah, if you want to talk to a dummy, or at least me go search, I'll search as hard as I can on the internet. I'll make phone calls. I'll figure out things. Some of my stuff is also hyped. You don't want to get into tort or being like, you know, hey, I'm helping out, but hey, guess what I just found out? This could be a good lead. I still am kind of in that mode of, hey, this could be a good lead, but I don't want to get into it to where it's causing a filthy situation reversefully, per se. Being more sabotage towards the person creating sabotage. Even though, should you feel any sympathy or regret or whatever it being towards the person harming you, ain't that pathetic? Anyways, with that being said, go ahead and hit me up if you want. I'm out. I just want to explain. It wasn't too clear of a story, but clear enough, hopefully, if it does get out, that somebody's intentionally doing shit that is what I feel is illegal. I don't technically know what it is, on some extents, but completely illegal shit. Right here, neighbors, and they pertains to the neighbors, last name Newman, Purdue, Torres, Tuckman, Tipton, Brenthold, Warwicks, Lewis, Tishy. And if people get a hold of this inside my family, they already know who they are then. Some of them have exactly, that's who it is. It's their last names. But last name values. My family doesn't want this to happen. You have to abide by what my family rulings are. You're not allowed to travel. You're misutilizing social value, and my family has the rights to control your quality and social value everywhere. That's my family values you're trying to affect upon. So I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm also going to enforce social controlment and whatever else, attackable situations. So that's kind of why I mentioned the shit that it is. But the first four names are the most to be dealt with right now for right now. That was the Newman, Purdue, Torres, and Stuckman. For sure. And that's for notes for myself. Knowingly, these people, I know there were some of their first names, if not all of them, but to pursue and make somebody understand, yes. Whole groups of family surname, challenging surname, and weird shit. How to deal with it? Is there a way to deal with it? Is some of it legal? Yes. If some, but I'm not even going to say yes to any of it. I'm not going to give them the ability to step down any harder, or at least accept that they got a right to. I want to go ahead and end this video. Like I said, no electronic jamming happened while I was doing this video. I'm stopping the video myself, so the electronic jamming has slowed up for the last few months, especially after trying some stuff. Even though it has happened, I've had complete phone functionality and operation ceased till I got out of the area. I know electronic jamming for 2,000,000,000% sure is going on. I ain't got a detective. I ain't got money just yet. I do have a little bit of equipment, low grade, cheapo bot stuff, which I need to improve on, catch it myself, take it to somebody that might give me some funding to catch the rest of the stuff going on. But 2,000,000,000% sure of electronic jamming. Dog chasing a raccoon or something around the situation. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video so I can grab my dog that just went hay nuts wire. Peace.